Welcome to the Spark Report. John W. Davis and Pavy. What's going on, Pavy?
What's
How
up,
you
man? How you
feeling?
doing? I'm
I'm
good.
doing well. I'm doing well. The Sparks are 4-5 right now. And
They
so
are.
we are back with the Spark Report. You're watching us live on HNB Media on YouTube, and you'll be listening to this later on the Winsider Podcast Network. But it's great to be back with you. So the LA Sparks, they're right at about the 500 level. And we were talking before the show that if they just maintain that, and then it's kind of like a track race. If you just maintain contact right about 500, and then you can have that kick, who knows how high you can finish towards the end of this season with the way that basically 4 through 11 are separated by 1.5 or 2.5 games right now.
Yeah, it's a really weird season right now. I don't think anybody outside of the usuals, Vegas and Seattle have really like stepped themselves as like top level teams. I think everybody else is kind of
I'd say Connecticut. I say
Connecticut.
Connecticut, but right now Connecticut is playing without Jonquel Jones, so they could fall back a little bit closer to the pack. But
I also
even when
do
she's
think,
back, I feel like those are the top 3 teams.
yeah, but I also feel like they're missing Alyssa, which I think is a huge miss for them as well. So I mean, yes, I feel you, but I think like talent level wise, I think the two top teams, obviously Vegas and it would be Seattle, and then everybody else is kind of sort of in like that other range. And then I'm sorry to say it, there's Indiana,
Yes,
probably at the very
Indiana is the outlier.
yeah, they're probably at the very bottom. So I'm
Yeah,
sorry to say it, but they're Indiana's at the very bottom.
yeah. We watched that game, and I think they lost by 35.
It was bad.
Yeah, and it was a road game, and they were in LA, so I'm sure they were like excited to be here. But again, like Derek Fisher talked about this again today, like travel is so hard on these players. Commercial, like you, if you get the aisle seat or you get the window seat, or
You're
you
good.
just happen to get the exit row, like
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
yeah.
And some of
Anywhere.
them can get first class too, but like you're still flying commercial. You
Yeah.
still have to bring your own bags to the airport. You check your own bags. You get your own bags. Like that's a
I even
process.
saw. I even shout out Lexi Brown. She had tweeted something or put something on Instagram where like I guess somebody lost the team's uniforms.
I did not see that,
Yeah, like they
but
lost
I
either
can believe it.
they lost either the uniforms or they lost somebody's bags or something like that at the like airport or something. So yeah,
I can
travel
believe
in a
it.
W. Travel in
I
a
can
W.
believe it. Yeah, but hopefully that changes sooner than later. I know that in playoff situations, they do have the ability to get them a charter flight. Like that's got to be the next step is charter flights. Because if you can do charter flights in a college women's basketball situation and a
Yeah,
college men's basketball situation, you got to figure out how to do it
put it in a
in a
W.
professional situation. Because when they're overseas and they're playing on those top teams in Russia,
They get
what are
treated
they?
that way.
What are they flying?
They get
Private,
charters private
right?
and they get treated that way.
So that has to be a must. Has to be a
Agreed.
must. But so if I'm talking about the Sparks right now, 4-5, back and forth. When you first look at it, I say like, that's pretty good. But then when I drill down into it, who are the 4 wins against, Pav?
Let's go back in the standings. So I don't
I
want
can
to.
I can
I don't
tell
want
you.
to. I don't want to
I can
misquote.
tell you.
Go ahead.
One is against the Fever, which is the worst team in the league.
2 against the Sky when they were missing
No,
everybody.
3 against the Sky,
3 against the Sky. Okay.
which is the second worst team in the league, technically.
Technically,
That's
yes.
it. That's all they beat is the 12th team and the 11th team. That's it.
Outside of the Fever game, have they scored 90 points yet?
I don't think so.
Because I'm looking at their
They
advanced.
barely scored 80.
Because I'm looking at their advanced stats, and it is terrible. They by far have the worst offensive rating in the league. Like they're 3 points lower than Indiana. Indiana has a 93.7. The Sparks have a 98. Well, no, a 90.8. Defensive rating, luckily for them, they are 4th in the league. They have, which is the thing that's keeping them in it. But their net rating, meaning like how much they usually lose or win games by, is -5. The only team that's worse in the league is Indiana. They're -17, which I don't even know how you have a -17 net rating. That don't even make sense. But they're -5. They
Well,
are
I think
Go ahead.
I was just going to say the 2 positives on the team, if you're talking about net ratings and all of this stuff, player efficiency, are Zowie B and Nia Coffey.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are the two players that should be in consideration for like awards and things like that. If you're talking the first 9-10 games of the season,
I think
because
Nia is more in consideration for awards than Amanda. I because I've always thought Amanda was a very quality player in general. Nia, I'm sad to say, I didn't even know about Nia Coffey until she came to the Sparks. She has been incredible this season.
Mhm.
I mean, like I even remember when I asked Fish about her role and just like, did he? I mean, I know he signed her, but did he even expect for her to play as big of a part as she's played? He said no. Like she talked about it and she was like, "Yo, like I want to show the things that I can do." But I don't think anybody imagined that she would be starting at what. I think she started at by like game 3, 4. She was starting.
Right. And I think that ideally, I think that when everybody's back, you got the full 12. I would still start Nia Coffey.
I agree.
I might start her at the 3.
I agree. I even think just
because
from
right now she's playing small ball inside and she's doing her thing and she's blocking shots and she's aggressive. But imagine having that on the wing now.
yeah. And I dare I say it, to me she seems like one of the, if not the best, one of the better shooters on the team for sure.
This year she is most
Like
definitely.
I would say
She's
Chris
top 5 in the league in 3-point percentage through 9
yeah.
games. I think she's shooting about 48.5%.
Yeah, like to me,
And that's after some games where she only made like 1.
Yeah, to me, she's the best shooter. Like you said, well, at least this year, on like historically, maybe not, but this year, to me, she's the best shooter on the team. And also, I think her starting with the way Brittany Sykes has been playing at like kind of a breakneck pace when she's on the court. I think it helps her coming off the bench as opposed to starting and you got to keep the energy for 30 minutes as opposed to you go out there and you give it for 18 to 22.
Yes, I agree with that too. But I do think that there's a balance between that because last year we saw games like game after game after game. We'd look up and Brittany Sykes have 16, 17, 15 points. This year she's averaging about 6. So there's got to be a balance between, yeah, you're coming off the bench and you're doing this breakneck stuff, but then also it has to translate offensively too. Like you got to do both things. You can't just do one if you want to accomplish what she wants to accomplish. We've talked about this before and we can talk about it again. Like if you want to be defensive player of the year, you have to be on the court.
Yeah.
And to be on the court, you most likely have to contribute offensively.
I also feel like a lot of it isn't her fault. I think she had a little bit more ball handling responsibilities last year at times. I think this year, I see Erica handling the ball a lot. Even Taya handles the ball more. Chrissy's handling the ball. So I just even when I got to go back and like this week, we get to see them 3 times at home. But I don't think she has the ball as much as she had last year. And then offensively as a whole, they just still look, I don't want to say discombobulated. I want to say they look like they don't even have the players to be able to be a great offensive team.
Well, what do you think about this? And I don't think we've been able to see it yet just because of injuries and everything like this. Like ideally, I think Brittany Sykes would be effective if she was on the court, in the backcourt, not necessarily on the wing. So put her in the backcourt with Christy Tolliver, have Nia Coffey on the wing, NECA, and Zowie B. I want to see that lineup. But we're weeks away from that.
You weeks like half the season gonna be over by the time the lineup.
But that's what I want to see.
I mean, that's a really good lineup.
Like
I think that's a great lineup.
Ideally, because look at everything she does on defense. Everything on defense trends to her guarding the point. She rarely is guarding the other team's wing per se. She's guarding guards. Like she's out on the perimeter, the top of the perimeter guarding. So why not translate that offensively as well, positionally?
Also, so you're gonna bring Erica off the bench?
No, I'm not saying you bring Erica off the bench. I'm saying that in a flow of a game, I want to see that lineup. Yeah, I'm not saying that they should. Yeah, I'm not saying start whoever. Like that's not my job. Like I can give you opinions, but that's not my job. That is Derek L. Fisher's job.
Nah, I mean, I think that's a great lineup, but a lot of the issue with the Sparks is just really injuries have really hit them really hard early on. Like you losing NECA for 4 to 6 weeks. I know Shanae is going through what she's going through. I don't know if it's just load management or, if she actually is ailing with something. I have no idea. And then Jasmine obviously getting a torn ACL.
Right.
It's just like you come in and you obviously missing Candace and missing Chelsea. Those are two huge components of what you were trying to do offensively. So you come in and then immediately, like, I mean, two of your most efficient players just aren't there while you're still trying to figure out what you're doing offensively. It's tough.
But what's encouraging is that every game that Zowie B has played in, the Sparks have had a chance to either pull within and take the lead, or they had a lead at some point in that game. Like, they've been able to have a chance to win every single game that she's played. That was my last article talking about why I thought she was key, because you and I had talked about this over and over and over. And you were saying that pairing her with NECA is the best version of the Sparks. And so I listened to you. I looked at it. I thought about it. And then I saw it. I saw it on the court. As soon as she came back, 4 out of the first 5 games they won.
Yeah,
she was there.
Yeah, she's averaging 11. She's shooting 47% from the field, 29% from 3. You would want that to improve. But
what is she shooting from 3?
29%.
Okay, she can shoot better than that.
Yeah.
But I love the willingness, though. She is willing to shoot.
What really, I think it's even deeper than the percentages, like you said, the winners, but it also gives the defense something to worry about. And, the fact that, Erica is a driver, Taya is, also a driver. It opens up driver lanes for Chrissy. It just opens the floor up more because, like, a big just can't just stare at Amanda. She has to at least think about picking her up outside because, again, we've seen her. I mean, you've seen it. You've seen her,
6 or 7.
6 or 7. We moving back to Staples after, mid, July. We may see a rebirth. Who knows? But
you know what? You just said her percentage is less than 30%. But the first few games when they were winning, if you really want to drill down into it, she was making almost half her shots, half her threes.
Well, there you go.
So, like, we've seen her be successful. Also, I want to give Zowie B a shout out because I love the fact that she protects her teammates and stands up for her teammates. I've had this discussion with people. I think it is very important that you ride for your teammates. Zowie B has played, 7 games for the Sparks, and she's already riding for her teammates like these are lifelong friends, like these are lifelong sisters, like these are lifelong family members. So I give her a shout out for that because, like, she is the most physically imposing.
Yeah.
And even if you want to say intimidating size-wise person on this team.
Yeah.
Like, she just is. And her willingness to take on that role is important because game after game, no one is ever going to be taller than her on this team.
At all.
Nowhere close.
At all.
Nia Coffey may play like a small ball center, and she does a great job at it, but she's still not 6'5".
Also about Amanda, what did I tell you? She needs to be one of the best help defenders in the W. I said that, right? And he was like,
yes.
She don't play defense. She's currently averaging 1.7 blocks. That's
right.
What she needs to do.
And Nia Coffey's averaging 1.9. Between the two of them, between the two of them, like, if there was no Nia Coffey and no Zowie B,
they wouldn't have won a game.
This would be the Fever.
They wouldn't have, no, they wouldn't have won any games.
You don't think they would have beat the Fever?
I doubt it. I don't know. I doubt it. No, but again,
and this is not to pick on the Fever because I think they have some players, like, they just got to get it together.
They have a bright future, but the future is not now. But no, like, even when I looked preseason at just Amanda, I just thought she was, just 6'5" players who can shoot the way she shoots. Don't come along really often. And one of the things about Fish is, at least the time I've been watching Fish with the Sparks, his teams usually play defense. He gets the most out of everybody defensively. You know what I mean? Hey, say what you want about Candace, but I don't think people thought Candace was a defender before last year.
Right.
And she won Defensive Player of the Year.
But you got to give a shout out to the whole staff then. If we're going to talk about defense, we got to give a shout out to Coach Latricia Trammell. And we got to give a shout out to Coach Fred Williams. And now we have to give a shout out to the first person who goes over to the players in the huddle, assistant coach Shimon Augustus. Like, they have a wealth of knowledge on the sidelines. Another thing you pointed out that I think is important this year, and I asked Derek Fisher about it, is I would say that he is more visually engaged on the sidelines. Like he is directing more. He's not just, and I know that, certain players love him for the fact that he just kind of isn't telling them what to do all the time. But sometimes that's what he's going to have to do if he wants to get a W. Like if you want to win a game, you have to do whatever you have to do to win the game. Like the lessons can be taught afterwards. You win a game by making adjustments in the game, pointing out different things that you're seeing that you may be able to see because you can see all five on the court. But one person on the court, they may only be able to see what's happening with their individual matchup.
I have to ask him this, but I think that's a product of one, this system being fully his. Like we said before, everybody who's here is here because they knew he was coaching and they said, we want to play for you. Also, the
yes, fact, but that's the thing. So like, if this system at its best is scoring 98 points against the Fever, it's fast paced and everything like that, look at what the Aces are when they're at their best. Chelsea Gray is playing fast pace along with everybody else. The Sky, they're playing fast pace. So I still am churning in my mind about those players and his system because you can see them play fast pace other places.
What I was basically saying was that, like, I just think that it's just a different level of comfort. Like you come in with kind of like you like come into a franchise and you have established superstars. Maybe you don't want to tinker too much with what they were already doing, as opposed to now you get a team. I mean, you have NECA, who was a superstar in her own right, but for the most part, but again, she even chose she could have left. She chose to come back. So I think that just just being here for 3 years now, he may feel even more comfortable to assert his dominance or his mind over the team on the sidelines. I think just like players have to get comfortable, coaches have to get comfortable. And I think that that's just a product of him probably now. He's been here for 3 years. He's probably comfortable on the sidelines doing things like that.
Well, that's a really good point, and he needs to continue to become even more comfortable because that's what it's going to take to win. And, he's talked about in the past about how past WNBA games have been more scripted and, he's helping move it forward where it's more free flowing and things like that. But that still doesn't mean people don't need direction.
Yeah, people definitely need at least a showrunner of what they're supposed to do. And you ain't got to follow every single topic to the T, but you at least need structure. Something you can't just roll the balls out there and be like, all right, turn around. You can't do that. You at least got to give people.
No, because if you do that, it's just going to turn into ISO ball, and sometimes it's going to work, and more than half the time it's not.
And when I cut on the Sparks, at least offensively, I see structure. I think I know what they're trying to do. It just doesn't go right. I don't even know if they have the pieces. First of all, they're down bodies right now. I also don't know if they just have, like Erica. She gets to the rim at will. Does she always make the layup? No, but she gets there. They usually get the things that they want. It's just shots aren't falling for whatever reason. Shots aren't falling.
So if that's the case, does that mean that they need to turn into the type of team that is, constantly looking to get to the free throw line? Putting their bodies on the line, trying to get to the free throw? Well, I mean, but I think that wears you down over time, though.
I mean, that's fair. Like, I think that they do.
That's how eventually you end up possibly getting hurt or possibly getting worn down.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, but they don't really have great. Like, I think didn't we, when we even looked at this team, did we think that they were going to be a great shooting team?
Not necessarily.
So it's
I would say traditionally, we probably say the best shooter on the team would be Christy Tolliver. Yeah, and then maybe we would have said Jasmine Walker or Sydney Weiss after that, but one is out and one was traded.
Yeah, like they don't really have a great shooting team, so they have to play kind of like inside out more so because they don't have a great shooting team. So it's like I would love to know what this team shoots as a whole in the paint. I don't have the stat in front of me, but I would love to just know what it is. Or the other option they have, which they do actually, it's just again a thing of them not converting, forcing turnovers and getting out on a break. They force a hell of a lot of turnovers. They don't always
number one in the league. Number
They
one in the
don't.
league consistently.
It's a weird thing where they don't always convert those turnovers into points. That's just really weird to me because usually if you forcing 20 turnovers a game, you think that's at least 20 free points right there.
Should be.
That's a quarter's worth of points right there at least. I don't know. It's just a very interesting case, which is why I don't think this team is playing bad. When I look at them 4-5, I think they can still get better. I don't think this is the championship team this year per se.
No.
But I don't think they've been bad.
No, I think right now, I think the ceiling is the 4th seed and the floor is the 11th seed.
I'm not mad at that.
You can either be hosting a 2nd round playoff game or you can be the 2nd worst team in the lottery. But then you don't have your lottery pick.
So it's not.
So you better not be in the lottery.
You better not be in the lottery. Definitely better not be the 2nd worst team in the lottery because you're not picking.
Be like, hey, Greg, can we have our pick back?
Absolutely not.
The Dallas Wings general manager Greg Pibb, can we have our pick back, please?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah, this team is just a really, really interesting case this season. It's kind of a enigma at times. Like I watched it and I'm like, if one thing should be commended, is for sure their defense.
I don't know who to attribute the quote to, but it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Like that's what they are right now.
Yeah.
It's either like, wow, they just forced 25 turnovers. Or it's like, man, they forced 20 turnovers and still lost.
And when they lose, they lose.
Right.
Which is why their net rating is -5.
But I mean, if I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose. I'm not one for a moral loss. Losses are not moral.
You like
if I lose, I lose, man.
Me.
Like, I'm not saying destroy me.
I want to know halfway through the 4th, we have no shot.
Look, I'm not saying destroy me, but if I ever get to having 10 active players and I'm losing, clear the bench. Y'all go finish this off. Y'all little rookies and young players and stuff, y'all go finish this off. Y'all show me that you should be in the top 8 rotation. I still contend that they need an 8-person rotation, even when they got all 12. Like somebody has to be out of this. You can't play 10.
Yeah. Too many people.
You can't play, especially the way some of the players play offensively. Some of the players play like that slow, like Mark Aguirre game. Like, nah.
You said they play like Mark Aguirre. I am in tears. That's how I know you from Detroit. As a random person to pick. Shout out Mark Aguirre.
He from your city. Right. You're from your city. Yeah. But I'm saying but you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, it's like, did you study like the Paul Pierce mixtape? Shout out to Paul Pierce. But I'm saying, you could be a Hall of Famer like that, but you need to be the number 1 option on your team playing like that.
Yeah, you do.
Like, you can't be a reserve or a young player
slowing the game down.
Yeah, and then you're trying to choose between your 1st and 2nd and 3rd option, a jab step. Get the ball, shoot it, trust yourself. Like that would be my message to all of the players, even the ones that you can look at them statistically and say they're not shooting well right now. Like, trust yourself. You are in the WNBA. I know that you can shoot. Every single player on this team can shoot at an open gym. So trust yourself when you are open, shoot. If you are not open, pass the ball. Like, it's still got to be that simple.
Also, I wish there was a stat for how many passes they have a game, because currently they have the worst assist percentage and the worst assist ratio, but also they shoot terribly. You can't get assists if you can't make a shot. So I don't know if that's, they don't pass the ball, they don't have good ball movement, or if they just can't make shots.
They pass. I mean, the only person who I feel like is still fully over dribbling sometimes, and not all the time anymore, is Taya Cooper. Past her, I think every once in a while you may see it with Christy Tolliver, but I think it's for a purpose because she is a rhythm step back shooter.
Yeah.
So hers are rhythmic. I don't think Taya's dribbling like that is rhythmic, not from the outside. It may be rhythmic to get ready to go inside for a drive. But other than those two players, they're passing the ball, and they pass too. So that's not a slight to them. If you're watching, Taya, Christy, this is not a slight to you. Everybody on this team passes the ball, but you're right. You have to make shots to get an assist.
Yeah.
And that's just a fact.
Yeah. But I do want to move on because we don't have too much time today. But I did want to get one in. But I also do want to move on to just this week of basketball. They played 3 games. They played 3. I think they play Wednesday, they play Friday, they play Sunday, and they play Tuesday.
No, I think it's Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Thursday.
Okay, let me Thursday.
Yeah. So it should be Phoenix, Liberty, and then that Thursday game, whoever they're playing. And I want to say it's the Mystics, if I remember correctly. But what you're trying to say is that other than
Thursday.
Is it Mystics?
Yep, Mystics. They have Mercury tomorrow. They have the Mercury on Friday. Ooh, this is a tough stretch. Ooh, this is my goodness.
Yeah.
Mercury, Liberty, Mystics. All right. So
So you got to split. You got to lead however you figure it out. You got to win 2 of those games. And honestly, you probably should win 3 of the 4 because all 4 of those are at home. The next time they have a road game is when they have to go to Phoenix, which obviously is really close. That's an easy flight, direct flight, no changes, anything like that. You can go out there the day before and leave the next day after the game and be right back home. So they're basically going to be at home from now until July 4th. So they got to figure out anything they can do to start racking up wins.
I mean,
at the end of this, I don't care who they're playing. At the end of this, they need to be at or above 500 to make this work. Because playing on the road is tough, man.
I don't know about that, dog. They got Mercury, Liberty, Mystics, Mercury, Aces, Storm, Lynx. I don't know about that, dog.
They better figure out how to go to 500 with all that.
I don't know about that. Hey, look.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if they don't, they're going to end up as like the 11th seed. If you only win 2 of those games, because you know the Sky are about to start winning games. You know the Lynx are about to start winning games. You know the Mystics are not going to lose every single game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Dream are winning games. Like, all of these teams are winning. Like, I don't think you're going to see a stretch where anybody else drops 6 or 7 straight like the Sky did. That was an anomaly.
That was just injuries. Injuries piled up, and
teams are going to start winning. So that's what I'm saying. Got to go 500. So after this, I'd say after 10 games, you want to win on Wednesday. After 10 games, if you could say the Sparks are 5-5 with 22 games left in the season,
that would have been a hell of that'd
be a great start, knowing everything they missed.
If they go 500, granted with all the injuries they've had and things that they've had to endure in the early season, that's incredible.
And if you keep it real, if you are close to 500 at the end of this season, you will most likely be a playoff team.
Yeah.
If you are above 500 at the end of this season, you probably will be a 5, if not a 4th seed.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of, I don't want to call it parity, but there's a lot of standings parity. Like, these teams are not the same, but you win one, you lose one. It's hard to win a road game.
Yeah.
It is extremely hard to win a road game.
Yeah.
And the Sparks are lucky that they've won 2 road games so far when they were playing the Sky, when the Sky were down.
Yeah.
Imagine what they would be if they didn't get both of those games right now. They'd be what? 3-6?
3-6. But if we can round it out, give me your prediction for the next. They have 4 games basically within the next 10 days. I think I know what your prediction. Well, give me your prediction. What do you think they will be, and then what they should be at the end of these 4 games? I know what you think they should be is 500, but what will they actually be in your?
Well, all 4 are home games, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to say that they win 3 out of these 4. I can't tell you which one they're going to lose, but it's different being at home. And think about how far, other than Phoenix, think about how far these teams are traveling to get here.
Yeah.
The Liberty and DC, they literally have the farthest to go unless they're already on the road playing somebody else somewhere. But even if they are, like, that means they're in the midst of a road trip.
And you're tired.
And that's tiring.
In my opinion, I don't think they'll beat the Mercury in either of these games. I don't I don't know who's healthy or not healthy for the Mercury. Is Diana
Diana is not playing.
But Skylar,
BG.
Bria is hurt. Right. Bria is hurt.
Yes.
BG is there.
Yes. Basically, it's been BG and Skylar dropping 20 something night after night after night recently.
You know what? You know what?
So I just don't see Phoenix winning both of these games.
All right. So let me get 3. I give them 2-2. I think they pick up one of the Mercury games. I think they beat the Liberty early game.
Early, right? So that's
early game. I think they beat the Liberty on the early game, and Mystics. I think they might catch an L with the Mystics, but I think they go 2-2.
I think everybody has motivation against the Liberty, whether it's granted or not, whether it's valid or not. Like, first time everybody plays Sabrina Ionescu, like, they're trying to do something because they know that eyes are on that game.
Yeah.
The Liberty have so many nationally televised games.
Are any of these on national TV?
That Sunday one is.
That's
why it's early.
Makes sense. Yeah, so that's my prediction. I'm gonna go 2-2. I'm gonna say they pick up one win against Phoenix. I think they beat the Liberty, and I think they beat the Mystics. You say 3-1?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
I'm gonna say I'm going to optimistically say 3-1, but I'll say you have to win 2 out of 2.
2 out of 2, fair. Well, I think we can leave it there for now. We can reconvene next week. It'll be interesting. Either, before the Mystics game, who knows? Maybe they win all of them. Maybe they don't win any of them.
If they win all of them, they'll literally be looking at the 4th or 5th seed. Just that quick. That's how these things change, just that quick. And so, that just goes with the idea that you can't get too high, you can't get too low, but like, these games matter. Like, the Sparks are not going to be in the Commissioner's Cup. Like, they haven't won a Commissioner's Cup game yet. They're not going to rise to the top of their standings in that. So that's out. So now it's literally just about winning the games that you can win.
For me, I never really talk about offense, but I think it's something as simple as this. The Sparks have to start making shots, bro. Like, if they're not going to make shots, they're going to shoot like this the whole season, you're not going to win many games. I'm sorry. Like, defense can take you somewhere, but it can't take you that far unless you the damn 0-4 Pistons and you holding teams to 40 points every game. It can't. Like, at a certain point in time, you got to start making shots. And if they don't start making shots, they won't win basketball games.
They don't have enough players to do that.
Well, then I don't know what to tell them.
Because even with the Pistons, they had a tight rotation of probably 8, but you still have defensive dogs spelling a few minutes just in case you need somebody else. So, and then again, like, pace of the game is totally different if you're going to be a defensive team, because that means you're also going to play slow on offense, but that's not what they do. So you're creating more possession.
Nah, you can't
play fast offensively and then try to slow everybody else down defensively. Like,
you can't play fast.
That juxtaposition is tough.
You can't play fast in the half court. When I say play fast, I mean, like, you can create. Obviously, you're creating turnovers.
Yeah, everybody wants to do that.
Yeah. So you can be you can't have a lot of points in transition. Offensively, though, in a half court setting, usually you would have somebody to dump it down to. You probably play through like a center. Or you probably run a lot of isolation, or, most of your shots will come closer in the paint to prevent long rebounds and bounce outs and other teams getting run outs and things like that. So,
right.
But yeah.
I mean, look, Rip Hamilton ain't running off no screens here.
All right, man. But
Memo ain't on the bench here.
Shooting
threes. Right. He's not on the bench shooting three. The only person that's doing that is Zowie B, and Zowie B has to play.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Rasheed Wallace ain't here. So, like, they have to build their own identity. Like, they can't do anything based off anybody else but what they can do. And what they can do, number one, is play defense. They've shown that they can play defense. And we all have to believe that they can make shots. They wouldn't be in the WNBA if they couldn't make shots.
Well,
they have to be able to make shots, and it has to start with layups. You have to make layups. Like, do not miss layups.
We'll see. We'll see. I think it'll definitely be an interesting week of basketball for the Sparks. And I'm interested to see how it goes. So we'll see. I think we can leave it there until next time.
Okay.
John, get your plug in.
All right, y'all. You can check me out on Twitter at John W. Davis. You also check me out on YouTube at John W. Davis Media. Also started a smaller thing to archive the WNBA stuff. It's called Inside the Wubble.
Okay.
Shout out to last year, but even this year, it still feels like we're in some sort of like small like WNBA bubble because it's just not totally open yet. So
yeah,
that's the inspiration behind that. And then
shout out that.
Yeah. And then also check out my articles on winsider.com. I'm working on one right now about Nia Coffey. So that's going to be my next article about how important she's been to the Sparks this season. That was a player that when she was signed to a training camp contract, nothing was guaranteed, but she's made the most of it.
Shout out
Pavi, where can we find you?
As always, man, follow me on Twitter at Pavi World, PAVY World, all one word. Songs About Women is out now. The Soft Lips video has been shot, should be out to you in the next 2-3 weeks. Still got to finish up some things for it. But
so
yeah,
man. So by July, we'll just say in July.
Yeah, so in July, the Soft Lips video will
Hold
be
them
out.
to it. Hold them to it.
Hold me to it. But yeah, Songs About Women out right now. You can follow me everywhere on at Pavi World, PAVY World, all one word. And yeah, man, until next time, guys.
All right, y'all. John W. Davis and Pavi. Peace.